What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
What is good, IE Sports Radio fans? It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, back at it again with another edition of the premier wrestling podcast online today. It is the IE Elite Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling, on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. What's good, everyone? Hello. I hope everyone's week has been fantastic. I hope you all had a very fun and safe Juneteenth yesterday. And as well, hopefully in the coming weeks, you guys remain healthy, happy, all that good stuff. And if you're listening live, thank you. If you're listening live on Spreaker, hello, everyone. What's up to Taryn Rodriguez in the chat room? Hello, sir. How are you doing today? Thank you for the praises, and thank you for the well wishes on hopefully would be another fantastic edition of the show. Hopefully we get some other visitors here in the chat room. Hopefully Larry B is listening. If he's not, shout out to him. Hopefully he is. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of wrestling news, of course, like we like to start the show off. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is the IE Elite Wrestling Show. Please follow me on the Twitter, at IE Elite Pod. That's at IE Elite Pod. Also, follow IE Sports Radio, which is the hub for all the shows affiliated with IE Sports Radio. That's at IE Sports Radio. Please check out our website. Links are in IE Sports Radio's bio, as well as mine on Twitter. Links are on our official Twitter pages, iesportsradio.com. And if you see my posting, if you're following me, the link to our Spreaker page is there as well. If you're listening on the download later on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Man, it's been a great few days of wrestling. This past Saturday night, I have to give it up to AEW. They put on a very solid first episode of AEW Saturday Night Collision, which featured the return of CM Punk finally to the wrestling ring after being out due to a triceps injury, plus the crazy fallout of the Brawl Out fiasco that took place after All Out 2002, where Punk, not 2002, excuse me, 2021, where Punk got into a fight with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I know I've talked about this many, many times on the show. But it was great to see Punk back on the show. Punk in rare and true form. He dropped a couple of pipe bombs in his opening promo. Took a shot at the Young Bucks. That was definitely he was definitely not trying to hide the fact that he was doing that. But that's Punk. We got to see the in-ring returns to AEW of Miro, a.k.a., for those who don't know, who haven't been watching the product, he was formerly known as Rusev in WWE. And, of course, we got the in-ring return of Andrade El Idolo, who had a banger of a match with Buddy Matthews, which was awesome. The ending of the match, it was cool. They had a lot of great spots. At one point, Buddy Matthews slapped on the leg submission of his real-life girlfriend, Rhea Ripley, onto Andrade, and Andrade actually winning the match with the figure 8, which is the finishing move of his wife in real life, the 14-time women's champion, Charlotte Flair. Woo! And the main event was a awesome match for Collision. A very strong main event to end a very strong show, with CM Punk teaming with the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR, Dax Hardwood, and Cash Wheeler as the trio team known as CMFTR, defeating the team of Bullet Club Gold, which is Juice Robinson and Switchblade Jay White, and the Ring of Honor World Television Champion and a former rival of CM Punk, Samoa Joe. And that was awesome to see. When those two guys got in the ring, you could just see the crowd just kind of just losing their minds, because who would have thought that in 2023 we would actually see CM Punk against Samoa Joe in a wrestling ring ever again. CM Punk had stepped away from wrestling, of course, famously back in 2014. Joe was on his way to WWE shortly after that, so it seemed like there was never going to be a chance of them ever stepping toe-to-toe once again, because when Punk left Ring of Honor, Joe was making his name for himself in TNA, now known as Impact Wrestling, and their famous feud, which featured 3 very highly regarded matches between the two that went 60 minutes. These two guys wrestled for over an hour 3 times in a row, and I would love to see them run it back again to have a feud between the two of them. That would be really awesome to see, but just a little bit of interaction that they had in that 6-man tag was great to see. Punk looks like he's wearing off some of that ring rust. He had a great showing. Match ends with GTS to Juice Robinson, 1, 2, 3. CMFTR is victorious live at the United Center in Chicago, Punk's backyard. Very strong showing. Hopefully Tony Khan and crew can keep the momentum heading into Dynamite tomorrow night and into the next edition of Collision the following Saturday, as well as this coming Sunday with the dual branded show between AEW and New Japan, Forbidden Door 2. More on that later. So we're going to jump into some awesome wrestling news. We got a lot of wrestling news to talk about here. So let me pull out my trusty notes here. So speaking of Collision, since we're on the topic of AEW right now, good old JR Jim Ross, I want to send some well wishes, and hopefully the family here at IE Sports Radio will do the same, as well as the wrestling fans that are listening. Please send some well wishes, to legendary commentator, WWE Hall of Famer, and just all around everyone's favorite commentator. If you grew up listening to JR every Monday night on Raw back during the Attitude Era, Jim Ross is stepping away from commentating at AEW, as he was one of the members of the commentary team on Saturday Night Collision, along with Nigel McGuinness and Kevin Kelly. But JR took to Twitter after the show had aired to apologize for the way he sounded, because unfortunately JR took a really bad fall early Saturday morning and he suffered a terrible black eye. I'm actually looking at the picture now. I don't know how hard or what JR hit, but please keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and hopefully JR can make a speedy recovery and get back to true form. So we're rooting for you, JR. Hopefully you'll be back sooner rather than later. Another AEW news, since we're still on the subject of AEW. Congratulations to AEW protege Nick Wayne, who I've talked about a little bit here in the last few weeks. Nick Wayne just recently graduated from high school. Congratulations, class of 2023. Nick will officially debut on AEW after he turns 18, which is actually just a few weeks away towards the middle of July. He has been wrestling on the independent scene since the age of 16. Isn't that crazy? This kid's already got a couple years of wrestling under his belt. And he will be making his grand debut on a national wrestling television show on Dynamite after he turns 18 in July. So congratulations to new high school graduate Nick Wayne. And Godspeed and good luck in your future, man. Hopefully the future is bright for you. Some more AEW news here. The widow of late great professional wrestler Brody Lee, a.k.a. Luke Harper, Amanda Huber, is now working on the production end of AEW. Huber previously worked in the community outreach area as the AEW Together community engagement coordinator. Huber, of course, like I just stated, is the wife of John Huber, a.k.a. Brody Lee, who tragically passed away in December of 2023 from idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Their son, Brody Lee Jr., is already signed to AEW, though his contract doesn't become official until he turns 18. So he's got a little ways to go. Brody Lee Jr., I believe, is 10 or 11 years old at the time right now, I think. If that's correct. So he's got a little bit of ways, but he's got a big wrestling contract waiting in the wings for him when he turns 18. Moving on to some Impact news. Here we go with Impact. Well, you know what? Actually, one last little tidbit for AEW fans. Excuse me. The former producer for Impact Wrestling and member of this year's Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame class of 2023, Jimmy Jacobs, is now working for AEW. He has jumped ship from Impact Wrestling to AEW, and he will be working as a backstage producer now with AEW. And it looks like Impact Wrestling, as we transition to some Impact Wrestling news, has already filled the void of losing Jimmy Jacobs, and they have hired Hunter Johnson, also known by his ring name Delirious, as a writer and producer for Impact Wrestling. He is a former Ring of Honor booker. He officially joined a few weeks back, and his addition was announced to the Impact talent and staff alongside the news of Jimmy Jacobs' exit from the company. Jacobs was the head of creative, and now the responsibilities of the creative team in Impact will be split between members of a team. Delirious is now the head of that team. Delirious famously had been the head booker for Ring of Honor for several years before the company went into a hiatus after Ring of Honor Final Battle 2021. So Impact, already on top of things, had hired in a former successful creative mind and producer in Delirious to head up their creative division. So congrats to Ring of Honor congrats to Impact Wrestling for that. And speaking of more Impact Wrestling news, the former Impact Wrestling World Champion Moose has just re-signed with Impact in what seems to be the longest yearly contract in the company's history. And this is the official statement from Moose himself. Leaving Impact Wrestling was a very hard decision to make. Since I made my debut in July 2016, I have accomplished much in 7 years. Truth is, there are so many matches that I wanted to have, so many matchups that I had to have. But then I realized, unlike MMA, I don't have to beat the great wrestlers in other organizations to be considered great. I think my body of work speaks for itself. I believe my peers in all other companies and organizations respect my work, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Right now, what you hear when you hear Impact Wrestling, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle are the top names that come to mind. I want my name to be at the top of that list. So with that goal in mind, I have to get more done before my time in Impact is done. Not only did I sign back with Impact Wrestling, but I have also signed the longest deal anyone has ever signed in company history. A lot of work to be done, so let's go. P.S. I still get to annoy Tommy Dreamer and Scott D'Amore. So that was the official posting from Moose on his, I believe that was his official posting on his Twitter page at The Moose Nation. That is his official Twitter handle, The Moose Nation. Moose did not disclose how long that deal is for, but he apparently has signed the longest contract in Impact Wrestling history. So there you go. So if you're a big fan of Moose, I mean, he's all right. I don't really, like him or dislike him. I'm kind of indifferent to Moose. But if you're a fan of Moose's work and what he's been doing in Impact over the last few years, then I'm sure you're very excited to hear that you're going to get some more of Moose for quite a bit of time. Moving on to south of the border, CMLL. I know I spoke about AAA last week. Now CMLL has announced their 90th anniversary show. That's crazy. CMLL has been around since 1933 as the Empresa Mexicana de Lucha Libre, EMLL, Mexican Wrestling Enterprise, and is regarded as the oldest professional wrestling organization still in operation. It was renamed Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, CMLL, World Wrestling Council, in English, in 1991. The promotion has confirmed the date and venue for its 90th anniversary show, as it will take place at the Arena Mexico in Mexico City on Saturday, September 16th, 5 p.m. local standard time. No talent or matches have yet to be announced, but that is huge. The Arena Mexico is one of the biggest arenas in the country of Mexico. So for them to be able to put on their 90th wrestling anniversary show there is big news. Hopefully they actually sell that out. One of the longest running wrestling companies in the world, one of the most famous wrestling companies in the world, CMLL, will be putting on a big 90th anniversary show. That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. So if you're going to be south of the border around September time, definitely check out the 90th anniversary show on the 16th of September. Oh, I totally skipped over this. Unfortunately, I didn't mean to do that. But here we go. We have some other Impact news here. If I can get this to pull up. Here we go. Just announced a couple days ago, Lio Rush, the former WWE Cruiserweight Champion and a former member of the AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling roster, Lio Rush returns to Impact at the Summer Sizzler in Atlanta on June 23rd. Impact Wrestling will be live from Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia, Friday, June 23rd for the Summer Sizzler for Impact. Center Stage, very famously, was the hub for WCW and NWA programming back in the 80s and 90s. It's the Center Stage Theater, and Impact Wrestling will be making what I believe is their debut. I don't know if they've ever put on a show there. If they have, I'm wrong, and I apologize. But as far as I know, they've never put on shows there at Center Stage. So that's really cool to see Lio Rush back with Impact Wrestling. For the Summer Sizzler, Friday, June 23rd. Tickets now on sale at Ticketmaster.com/Impact Wrestling. So check it out if you're going to be in the Atlanta area this coming Friday. On to some NWA news and some other indie wrestling news here. The National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, of course, the company owned by Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan, will be putting on a special benefit show at the Recreation Center of Highland Park. That's going to be at the address 1207 Park Avenue, West Highland Park in Illinois. This is actually going to be 1 year after the mass shooting in Highland Park, Illinois. The NWA is holding a charity event to raise funds for the ongoing medical expenses of one of the youngest injured during this tragedy, Cooper Roberts and his brother Luke. HP Cares for Cooper is what the event is called. It's going to be held on July 8th, 2023 at 2 p.m. Proceeds from this event go directly to Cooper Roberts and his family. Tickets are on sale now at NWA Tix. That's NWATIX.com. So if you're in the area, or if you're planning on making a trip to the state of Illinois, specifically the Highland Park area, and you want to do a good deed and see some great wrestling action, go to this show, HB Cares for Cooper. All the proceeds, all the money that you spend there on tickets, concessions, whatnot, all the proceeds will be going to Cooper and his family for the recovery from this tragedy that took place a year ago. So that's really awesome to see that NWA is doing something and giving back to the community and giving back to this young boy and his family. Wrestling is returning to the Mall of America, guys. The independent wrestling company known as First Wrestling has announced that the promotion and Pepsi will be presenting the Saturday Night Nitro at the Mall of America on September 9th, 2023. This will mark the second year in a row that First has held an event there. Ticket sales have not been mentioned as of yet. The first Saturday Night Nitro event, which was held on September 10th, 2022, featured a match between Dante Martin from AEW and WWE Hall of Famer Rob Van Dam. This bout led to a tag team match where Martin and RVD faced the Trustbusters, Ari Daivari and Sonny Kiss, plus AEW superstars Orange Cassidy defeated and battled Effie. Ethan Page and Colt Cabana, among other stars, competed at the show. As you know, if you're a famous historian of wrestling, if you love to go back and revisit and learn about the history of wrestling, you would know that Mall of America was the host of the premiere episode of WCW Monday Nitro back on September 4th, 1995. The first episode of WCW Nitro was headlined by Hulk Hogan clashing with Big Bubba Rogers, a.k.a. Big Boss Man. Elsewhere on the show, Lex Luger memorably made his appearance as he jumped ship from the WWF at the time to WCW. The official Mall of America Twitter account previously said the mall would be willing to host an episode of AEW Dynamite if they ever wanted to do that in the future. So just look up First Wrestling and see when tickets go on sale. Right now, they are not on sale as of yet, but the event is slated to take place Saturday, September 9th from the Mall of America. Saturday Night Nitro, First Wrestling, and Pepsi Zero Sugar presenting the show. So that's really cool to hear. And that's big. That's one of the biggest malls in America. I mean, it's in the name, right? We got another member of the Anoa'i family about to make their professional wrestling debut. Zilla Fatu, the son of WWE legend, God rest his soul, Umaga, will soon be making his pro wrestling debut. Booker T's Reality of Wrestling announced Fatu's debut for their upcoming Summer of Champions event to take place at the Humble Civic Center on July 15th. Tickets are on sale now. They are available at realityofwrestling.com. And this is going to be taking place if you're going to be in the Humble, Texas area at 8233 Will Clayton Parkway at the Humble Civic Center. Zilla Fatu making his official wrestling debut in just over a month from now. In just about a month from now, or less than a month from now. The son of Umaga, another member of the Anoa'i family. This family just bleeds wrestling. I mean, it's in the name, the Bloodline, or maybe not so much anymore, but... and more on that later. But but yeah, the Anoa'i family is got strong roots in the world of professional wrestling. The High Chief Peter Maivia, Yokozuna, the Wild Samoans, Alpha and Sika, Samu, the Tonga Kid, Rikishi, Tamina Snuka, Jimmy Snuka, who are extended members of the family. Jimmy and Jay Uso, Solo Sikoa, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment, The Rock. This family is a strong wrestling family. and they have just added another member to the family with Zilla Fatu, the son of Umaga. I'm sure Umaga is looking down from the heavens and smiling, knowing that his son is entering the profession that he loved so much. Now we're moving on to some WWE moves. This is breaking news that came out about 5 days ago. Apparently, and it was reported by Ringside Roster and FW4 Online, that Carlito, yes, that's right, former WWE Tag Team and United States Champion, Intercontinental Champion as well, Carlito, Caribbean Cool, is reportedly coming back to the WWE. He has officially re-signed with the company. Carlito made a huge appearance at Backlash this past May in Puerto Rico. Got a huge response from the crowd there in his home native country. And it actually, his return itself, apparently brought WWE a lot of huge numbers, social media views-wise, on Twitter and on YouTube. A lot of traffic just to see the return of Carlito to WWE programming. So apparently Carlito went down to Orlando to meet with WWE at the Performance Center, and he has apparently re-signed a deal to be back full-time with the WWE, and hopefully it'll actually be happening sooner rather than later. It was noted that Carlito recently canceled a booking in Canada for July 15th, stating that he had signed with the WWE and would no longer be available. So it looks like Carlito should be popping back up on WWE TV here fairly soon, if he had a July 15th appearance that was scheduled that no longer is happening. So it looks like he's coming back to the WWE probably here in the next couple of weeks. So just stay tuned to WWE programming so you don't miss the return of Carlito. For the first time in 5 years, WWE is bringing back the pay-per-view event Payback. And for the first time in 5 years, Payback will be in Pittsburgh, PA, Saturday, September 2nd at the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's actually going to be taking place during Labor Day weekend, and it will stream live, of course, in the U.S. on Peacock and internationally on the WWE Network. So Payback has now been announced for September 2nd, Saturday, September 2nd. So it looks like everything is not all sunshine and rainbows in the land of WWE and Endeavor since the deal was made, because apparently on a recent episode of Kevin Nash's Click This podcast, Kevin Nash revealed that several large stars, he didn't name names, but quote-unquote several large stars, have had their royalties basically cut in half since Endeavor's takeover of the WWE. Nash stated that if his next payment on July 1st does not go back to normal, he plans to send a complaint to the CEO of Endeavor, Ari Emanuel. I have no idea what if there's any truth to that. I mean, I guess Nash would know because he's the one getting the checks in the mail. But that just seems odd for the company. I mean, I guess maybe not, because the company would rather save money now that they're merged with another company than to dish out more money. But I mean, you're going to lose a lot of big names and legends to other companies that could potentially, appease them, aka AEW, for instance. So I don't know what kind of things that they're doing, or how they're doing things with Endeavor. But they need to get their act together if that's the case. I mean, does Nash really need the money? Probably not. But hey, I mean, he's not working. He's not an active wrestler. This is what he does, and he should be receiving the same amount of royalties, I would assume. I mean, it's only right, I guess, right? Who knows? And just 2 days ago, on the 18th of June, Shawn Michaels, WWE Hall of Famer, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, celebrated 35 years with the WWE. Shawn Michaels made his debut in the WWE on June 18th, 1998, on the WWF Superstars of Wrestling show from back in the day, as a part of the Rockers with his former tag team partner, Marty Jannetty. The Rockers picked up a win over Iron Mike Sharp and The Intruder in just over 3 minutes, And Shawn Michaels has been basically a constant in the WWE since that date in 1998. 35 years with the company, and now Shawn is running NXT as its head of creative and producer. He's the one running the show down in Orlando. That used to be the spot for Triple H until Triple H got promoted. So he's got his buddy doing, shaping the minds and shaping the talent of the future of the company, so to speak. I would say the company's future is in good hands with a legendary talent like Shawn Michaels, who, of course, is on everybody's list of best workers in the business. When you think of what your favorite wrestlers or just best workers in general, Shawn seems to be in everybody's top 5, if not the top spot of that top 5. So congratulations to Shawn Michaels on 35 years in the WWE. That's really awesome. Not a lot of people can say they've stayed at a job for 35 years, especially the same exact one. All right, guys. We're just a little over 30 minutes here. We'll be back. We're going to hear from one of our other great shows here on IE Sports Radio, and we'll be back with some more wrestling news. We're going to talk about what went down on SmackDown this past Friday. We're going to talk about the new matches announced for Forbidden Door. I'm sure there'll be more matches announced this coming Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night before this Sunday. And tonight's big NXT show on the USA Network, NXT Gold Rush. Stay tuned, guys.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Lentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Welcome back, guys. If you're just tuning in, we went over a lot of wrestling news, a lot of Impact news, AEW news, and at the very end, some WWE news. Man, a lot of crazy stuff, and just a lot of things changing, a lot of ins and outs coming in to professional wrestling and these different wrestling companies. And I'm glad that you're sticking around with your boy, the SoCal Saint. Now let's get into some action. Let's talk about what took place this past Friday night on SmackDown. It was the return of the Tribal Chief to SmackDown after being gone for, 2 weeks? I don't know. Roman has done so many damn returns. It's ridiculous, but whatever. When you think about it, it makes it for must-see television because you tune in to see what's going to happen with this Bloodline storyline. It was the return of Roman, which led to the choice. The choice of Jey Uso, his cousin. Was Jey going to choose to remain with Roman as the right-hand man to be the next Tribal Chief to learn from the current tribal chief? Or was Jay going to turn his back on Roman and stick with his brother, Jimmy? That was the main course. That was the par for the course for Friday's episode of SmackDown, and it ended in tremendous fashion, just setting records on social media, live on Twitter and on YouTube for viewings because of what took place. I think it had over 26 million views in just 24 hours or less. It was something ridiculous, something unheard of, especially when it comes to like wrestling clips. But Jay was going back and forth with Jimmy and Roman. Basically, he was singing Roman's praises for a moment. You really thought that was it. And he told Jimmy, "You out! You out of the bloodline." And you just see Roman just light up, laughing, just like, "Yeah, that's what you get, Jimmy. That's what you get for kicking me in the face, right?" But it wasn't over. And Jimmy looked dead in his brother's eyes, and he said, "I'm out too." Boom! Super kick to the tribal chief. Roman gets kicked in the face. And you can see it on his face like, why would you do this? Again? And then, boom! Double super kick to their little brother, Solo Sikoa. And Roman's on his knees like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then, boom! Double super kick from the Usos. The chains of Roman Reigns are off of Jay and Jimmy, and they the ones. The Usos have split from the Bloodline. The Bloodline is no more. And that cannot be more apparent than what was announced just 24 hours after that this past weekend. I even posted this on my Twitter page, which is at IEElitePod. If you're not following me already, at IEElitePod. It will take place. We might as well just jump in to Money in the Bank, which will be taking place live at the O2 Arena in London, England, on Saturday, July 1st. We are just 2 weeks away from Saturday, July 1st in the O2 Arena in London, England, with a special start time of 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States. So, which for me, that pay-per-view will be starting at 2 o'clock on Central Standard Time. But it was announced that we will have a Bloodline Civil War tag team match. The Bloodline, or what remains of it, Solo Sikoa, and the disputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, with the wise man Paul Heyman by their side, take on Jimmy and Jay, the Usos. That is going to be a huge match. If this match is not the main event, I don't know what should be. The everything about this storyline, the Bloodline itself, has been main eventing pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view, and it only would be just if this is the closing match of the night in London. Also, of course, set for London, the World Heavyweight Championship match, Seth freaking Rollins, if he's still champion, because we'll get to that here in a second, will be defending the title against the leader of the Judgment Day, Finn Balor. 7 years in the making. Finn Balor came out last night, blindsided Rollins, just decimated him at the very beginning of Monday Night Raw, and told him, I've waited 7 years for this. And this is going to be, this could be a show-stealing match between Balor and Rollins for sure. Speaking of the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio, probably the most hated man on the roster today, with the Women's World Champion at his side, Rhea Ripley, will be going one-on-one with arguably the most popular superstar on the roster today, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. The landscape of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match has changed after last night on Monday Night Raw with her victory over Raquel Rodriguez. Now, this is the landscape. Trish Stratus has now been added to the Money in the Bank ladder match with Io Sky, Bayley, Zoe Stark, Becky Lynch, and Zelina Vega. And the men's side, the landscape has also changed for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. It will now be Logan Paul, who apparently did not have to qualify by wrestling a match. He just had to call up WWE headquarters and say, yo, I want to be in the match. And they was like, okay, all right, you win. That's apparently what was said to him. And that's what he made his announcement live in his home of Cleveland, Ohio. His hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, last night on Raw. Logan Paul has been added to the Money in the Bank ladder match, so it is now Ricochet, versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus L.A. Knight. Yeah! Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest of the Judgment Day, and Logan Paul. So it is now a 7-man Money in the Bank ladder match. That is the card right now. I would have to say a pretty solid, strong card for the O2 Arena in London, Saturday, July 1st. Money in the Bank. Live on Peacock, WWE Network internationally. And like I stated, talking about the World Heavyweight Championship match, that is yet to be decided because tonight, live on the USA Network, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, live on USA, from the Performance Center down in Orlando, Florida, NXT Gold Rush takes place tonight. And these are the segments and matches that have been announced for tonight. Going one-on-one, Dana Brooke will be taking on Cora Jade in a one-on-one match. We have a triple threat match. A triple threat tag team match to decide who will be the number one contenders to NXT tag team titles. We have the teams of Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen taking on Hank and Tank, and the team of Idris Enoff and Malik Blade, And the winners of that match will be the new number one contenders to the NXT Tag Team Champions, Gallus. Also, there's going to be a pep rally celebration from Chase U for Thea Hale, who won the Battle Royal and is now the current number one contender to Tiffany Stratton and her NXT Women's Championship. Also, before they clash for the NXT title, they will come face-to-face tonight on NXT Gold Rush. Baron Corbin and the current NXT champion, he is him, Carmelo Hayes. We have another championship match announced as well. Wesley defends the NXT North American Championship and against Tyler Bate, and Mustafa Ali will serve as the special guest referee for this match. This match could very well steal the show tonight. And the reason why I said that the future of the World Heavyweight Championship is in question, at least for tonight, is because tonight, Seth Rollins, after taking that merciless beating from Finn Balor at the beginning of Raw last night, is going to be headed to Orlando to defend the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time ever on NXT against the former NXT champion, Braun Breaker. That is the main event for NXT Gold Rush. Braun Breaker challenging Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. You definitely do not want to miss tonight's NXT episode. This is a very solid wrestling show. It has been as of late. And I believe that NXT Gold Rush, its special presentation tonight, will be no different. Especially with you got the NXT North American title match to look forward to, and the World Heavyweight Championship match to look forward to. I'm definitely going to be tuning in for that. But we got a big pay-per-view actually coming Sunday. Sunday, June 25th, coming to you live from the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It will be AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling present Forbidden Door 2. That's right, Forbidden Door 2 is going to be taking place live this Sunday, live on pay-per-view. You can also stream it live on NJPW World, on Fight, and on Bleacher Report. And these are the matches. They now officially have 4 matches on the card so far. Like I stated, Dynamite is tomorrow night on TBS. You got Rampage on TNT on Friday. And you have Saturday Night Collision the night before Forbidden Door this coming Saturday night. So we have 3 more opportunities to have more matches announced for this show. But these are the matches in no particular order. For the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, after making an open challenge this past Wednesday night on Dynamite, Sonata has been answered. Sonata's challenge has been answered. Sonata will be defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I did not see that coming. I can't say that I'm super overly excited to see this match. It might surprise me. They might actually put on a great match. It just seems really odd that out of all the members of the AEW roster, Tony landed on Jungle Boy to face the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. I almost feel like that's almost a slap in the face to the world title, the IWGP World title. It's almost looked at as a secondary championship the way it's presented, at least for this pay-per-view. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Jungle Boy. In no way, shape, or form am I just trying to, what do the kids say nowadays, throw shade at Jungle Boy. But I was expecting, maybe someone that's more in the main event scene for the IWGP heavyweight title, at least from the AEW side of things. Like, hell, it doesn't even have to be somebody in the main event scene, just maybe someone with a little more clout. Like, I would have loved to have seen Sonata take on Pac for the title. Or hell, even Orange Cassidy and Sonata probably could have had a good match. I mean, hopefully Jungle Boy and Sonata do have a good match, but I just feel that one just seems a little out of nowhere. You know what I mean? That was definitely out of left field for me with that choice. This one, not so much. I'm actually looking forward to this one. For the AEW World Championship, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, will defend the AEW World title against 1/3 of the Never Openweight Tag Team Champions of the 6-man Never Openweight Tag Team Champions, the ace and former multiple-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's a big match there. Friedman. See, now that's what I'm talking about. I feel like New Japan is treating the title much better than AEW is treating the IWG World title, because you got MJF, who is the world champion for AEW, and he's getting a challenge from one of the biggest stars in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and that's what I feel should have been done for Sonata. So, I mean, who knows? That's just my opinion, but that's how I feel it should have went. Of course, these 2 matches bear nothing towards these ones. Honestly, these are the biggest matches that they could have announced, and these are the ones I look forward to the most. I've said it last week, and I said it the week prior. For the IWGP United States Heavyweight title, a rematch from Wrestle Kingdom, Kenny Omega defends the IWGP United States Heavyweight title against Will Ospreay. That's going to be a hell of a match. And this, of course, is the biggest match for me. This is the one I'm most excited to see. For the first time ever, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, goes one-on-one with the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Man, I am really excited for that match. Like, I've said it the last 2 weeks. I'll say it again. Okada and Danielson is going to be a wrestling clinic. That's the deal of the show. That's going to be the match tonight. That's going to be the night, that Dave Meltzer jizzes all over himself. Because you got Bryan Danielson and Okada going one-on-one. He's going to be throwing out stars left and right. He's just 7 stars, 5 stars, 7 stars, 8 stars, 9, 10 stars. Oh, Dave Meltzer's gonna fucking have a stroke after watching this match. But I kid. If you're wanting to see this, guys, like I stated, pay-per-view, Fight TV, Bleacher Report, or subscribe to NJPW World, AEW NJPW Forbidden Door 2, live this Sunday, June 25th, in Toronto, Canada, at the Scotia Bank Arena. And we got a lot of stuff going on in the professional wrestling world, a lot of strong shows coming. I cannot wait for Forbidden Door. Tonight's NXT show should be real strong with NXT Gold Rush and, of course, Money in the Bank in just 2 weeks away. Man, it's good to be a wrestling fan right now. It really is. This is some of the best wrestling we've gotten in the last year or so. From last year to this year, it's been very, very strong, especially on the WWE side of things, which is rare to say because WWE has been hit or miss for the last, 10 years, maybe longer. But, man, when they shine, and they have been on it, especially with this Bloodline storyline. I cannot stress that enough. With the Bloodline storyline, it has been some of the most compelling and must-see television in the company's history in quite some time. So, hopefully, the Bloodline Civil War is not a finality, but just another chapter in an ongoing saga. You know, it's like, you gotta look at it like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so to speak. I'm taking my nerdness for this. You had 3 phases before you had that ultimate payoff with Avengers Endgame. I don't think we're in the Endgame yet. We're just getting started. We're probably at Infinity War now. So we got a little bit more ways to go before we hit that Endgame for the Bloodline. Hopefully that made sense. It made sense to me anyway, but hopefully that made sense to the listeners. Hopefully, I find some sort of common ground. Wrestling fans tend to be, at least superhero film fans as well, but, that's just me. I wanted to take a minute before we end the show today. I did not mention this last week, and that was because I'm forgetful, and I do apologize, but that in no way in any shape or form meant any disrespect, but I do want to send condolences and prayers to the family of the Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik lost his life, passed away at the age of 81 a couple weeks ago. I did not mention it on the previous show, and I really did mean to prior to going live, but I guess I just slipped my mind as the show went on, and I do apologize for that. But the Iron Sheik, of course, one of the biggest names in the world of professional wrestling. The Iron Sheik was a former WWF champion, defeating Bob Backlund for the title. And without the Iron Sheik, you don't have Hulkamania, because the Iron Sheik was the catalyst. You have to say that. Was the catalyst to the launch of superstardom of Hulk Hogan, because that was the first opponent that Hogan defeated for his first WWF championship. And that was the longest reign of Hogan's WWF career, where when he defeated the Sheik, he was champion for 4 years after that. So, Iron Sheik has a lot of great memories for a lot of wrestlers. He famously was a former tag team champion with Nikolai Volkov. And Sheik was real, his famous catchphrase was, Iran #1, USA, Hak Tui! The Iron Sheik was a character inside and outside the ring. Famously, I followed him on Twitter. Every day was always something funny that always made me chuckle. That would come across my timeline, and always going at Hogan. He'd be like, "Have a good day, except for that beach Hulk Hogan." Oh man, Sheik also is a former WWE Hall of Famer. He became a Hall of Famer back in 2005, the same year that Hogan won the Hall of Fame. But he probably had the most memorable speech that year. that's still talked about to this day. Just a very great speech. You could just see the love and admiration from the fans and his fellow wrestlers in the crowd. You could just see, if you watch that back, his speech, you could just see how that adulation just made him so happy, and just to have that special moment for him. So, to the memory of the Iron Sheik here at the IE Elite Wrestling Show and IE Sports Radio family, Godspeed, Iron Sheik. Rest in peace. And to your family, prayers of healing and condolences. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Tonight's. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I'll be back again with another new episode. Same SoCal Saint time. Same SoCal Saint channel. Live on IE Sports Radio. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, the host of the IE Elite Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports. Holla at your boy. Follow me on the Twitter at IE Elite Pod. Follow IE Sports Radio, the main hub at IE Sports Radio. Check out our website at iesportsradio.com. Check us out, guys. We're growing. We're getting bigger. We're getting better. We're getting badder. But, bad in a good way. Take care, everyone. I will see you guys next week. Oh, real quick, I see Larry's in the chat room. What's up, Larry? Taryn, thank you, sir. I appreciate you listening and sticking through for the whole show. I actually wanted to share something, totally non-wrestling related, but I surprised my father. I want to share just a little something. I surprised my father with tickets to the, I hope I'm saying this right, to the Concaffa? Wait, hang on. Concaf? Concaffa? I don't know. Shit. The Gold Cup quarterfinals. The Gold Cup quarterfinals will be held here at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. I surprised my dad for Father's Day that we're going. They have not announced. They haven't gotten there yet, I guess, to the quarterfinals. But there's going to be 2 games that day. So I'm going to be getting some real football action, not football, football action. With my father in one of the biggest stadiums in the country today, the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. So I just wanted to share that. And if I can, which I probably plan to, I'll be sending some videos and some live tweeting while I'm there. This is going to be my actual first ever professional soccer. I know it's known as soccer here in the United States, soccer anything, to attend. Because most of the time me and my dad just go to wrestling shows, so I know for him this is going to be extra special because my dad, being a natural born from Mexico, that's what he grew up loving, that's where he grew up playing, and my dad is so very happy to be going. Thank you, Taryn. Yeah, I figured it was an acronym. It's just the way it's spelled. It's just very hard for me to freaking articulate that. So I apologize for butchering that. But I'm very excited to be going. It's going to be an awesome experience. I'm hoping that Mexico is one of the teams that gets to play that day, so my dad can see his national team live for the first time. So, fingers crossed. But it's going to be awesome. More on that later. Again, please, guys, thank you again for tuning in and following me. And I will check you guys next week for another edition of the IE Elite Wrestling Show. Take it easy, everyone. Stay safe. Have fun. Be well. Be happy. Peace.